I'm a master's student majoring in computer science, and this is B plus tree, but mainly inserting into a B plus tree when there is no tree given and we are starting from scratch. This is a sequence of numbers that I've taken, and I'll be showing two examples with it with two different number of nodes. So your first instinct while looking at this question would be to arrange it in ascending order. Do not arrange it in ascending order and just go as is, like as how the numbers appear. The main reason for this is that there can be a small number that has to be added in the very end, and you might have to merge or split one of the nodes as they come. But yes, whatever happens, do not arrange it in ascending order unless your professor has told you to do so. The first example that we're going to take is n is equal to 5, which means the number of nodes, the number of elements in a node is 5, at most 5. So if there is 6, then we cause overflow, so we need to split it and do whatever function that's been required. The assumptions that I've used is to favor left node first, as in the left node gets an extra element. These all assumptions would be given to you previously, or your professor will instruct you how to go about it, but this is what I've done. And although it doesn't really hold true for this question, but if merging is required, that also it will try to first redistribute, and if redistribution fails, only then it will merge. All right, so let's start with this question. So simply what I've done is I've taken the first 5 nodes and arranged them in this first 5 elements and arrange them in this node. Now adding 17 to this node would cause overflow. So what we're going to do is, we have 6 elements now in this node. So what we're going to do is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And we're going to take 3 plus 1, which means the 4th element goes up and becomes the root node, and we split the rest. Now that we have space, and like I said, favored the left node first. So we had 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. 3 numbers go to the left side, whereas 2 numbers go to the right side. Then we continue adding until we have overflow again, or we have exhausted our number list. So we still have 2 more elements to add, but we again have overflow. So in this case, again, we're going to do 6 divided by 2 plus 1, which is 4th. So that means the 4th element goes up to the root node, which means 19 is the one that goes up to the root node, and you have 7 and 19. Again, we continue adding elements until we have an overflow again, or we have exhausted the list. But now since we have exhausted the list, this is the solution. Also try to look up minimum underflow and overflow. What are the conditions for it? So overflow condition is pretty easy, but just check what the condition is for leaf nodes and non-leaf nodes for underflow. Next, we're going to try to do the same question, but with n is equal to 7. That means if we try to put 8 numbers in one node, it would be overflow. Like we did before, we add 7 elements first, and now we're at a stage of overflow. That means adding 23 to this node would cause overflow. So now we have 7 elements, so we have 7 by 2, that's 4.5, or 5. We round it up. That is what I'm making. The assumption that I'm making is to round up. So that means the 5th element becomes the root node, and that's how we split. Again, we give more number of nodes to the left side. So 4, 2, 3, 5, 7 goes to the left node, and 11, 17, 19 goes to the right node, and 11 becomes the root node. Now we continue adding numbers as they come, until we have an overflow or we have exhausted the list. Now, since we have exhausted the list, this is the final answer. So that is how to perform insertion from scratch in a B plus tree.